What a lovely sounding language. It's funny because there is a lot of Dutch influence in English, but there's just that accent that makes it sound quite amusing to me. Now, I'm not saying that is why I have been wanting the addition of Dutch cruisers to the game, but I'm also not saying that getting the voice lines wasn't a cherry on top of a line of ships that punishes stationary bow tanking. Of course, we don't really have the Dutch heavy cruisers yet, but with the addition of D7P, all the mechanics are here, and we actually have a Dutch cruiser commander. Read 'em and weep, Brisbane and Haida, etc. And this commander, he's going to be pretty spicy on the heavies once they get here, because his 4th row skill increases the damage of your shells on each ship that you shoot. There's like an invisible counter that keeps track of your bombs, HE, AP, and if you rank this guy up to 16 Legendary 4, though I will say in this match he is 16 Legendary 3, but 4 is not far off, then after 50 shell hits on a ship, you get 50% bonus to your damage. And that sounds rather silly. I mean, how often are you going to be shooting a target 50 times? And I agree, but 10 times? 20 times? That's not unheard of. Combine that with a legendary mod, and that starts to sound kind of nutty. But again, we don't have the heavy cruisers, so in the meantime, you will just see its effects with the old D7P. So what's the deal with D7P? Well, you'll recall in its announcement trailer, we saw airstrikes raining down and decimating ships with ease, and I said, I think it's going to be a lot harder to land those airstrikes than most people expect, and in my experience so far, which is 12 games, this is the 12th match, I've indeed found that to be the case. But I will be mastering it. Oh yes, I will. Here I am trying to blind drop, but I am going to miss because for whatever reason, this Plymouth is just ready to come on out here and start doing Plymouth things. So we will see the airdrops come out here. I mean, I don't know. This is a very strange match. You guys are some really odd things happen here. He's slowing down, so I'm going to go ahead and put out one airstrike. And he's definitely stopping, so I'm going to go ahead and put out the other. And he's dead. I mean, he just doesn't know it yet, but he's about to. And that's going to be our first ship sunk. Not that airstrike, but this one. Bonk? Yeah, there we go. So, first ship sunk and kind of looking around at what's going on with this game. And speaking of what's going on, where is the voice line that we want? Where is in the Lucht? Fix your game, Ouija. That's the line. It's in the trailer, but the commander doesn't say it when you launch airstrikes. Anyway, about this ship. Well, it's a little slow. It's a little clunky, but overall, I like it. It doesn't seem OP. I don't think you're going to see 6 of them per match after the next couple weeks, but kind of a higher skill floor. Not really sure how high the ceiling is either, and while you can definitely have game impact, it's going to be probably pretty hard to carry in this. But the main thing that I've noticed playing it so far and seeing others playing it is that sometimes I find myself focusing a bit too much on the airstrikes rather than shooting my guns, and having recognized that in my previous games, I was definitely making a concerted effort to be shooting whenever I could in this match, because at the end of the day, that's where you're going to get most of your damage. And so, with that, I'm trying to be a little less campy, you know, trying to get airstrikes and everything, because, yeah, that's the new mechanic. You want to learn how to do it. But if I can still shoot my guns, then we can still do, you know, regular gun things. And in this situation, I was trying to bait that North Carolina to shoot at me so that he could get spotted again, and maybe I can get another fire on him. And that's exactly what he does. I don't remember if it's this salvo or the next one, but that's also exactly what I do. I get a fire on them, and granted, it's not going to burn them out. But, you know, a fire that is going to be, what, like another 10,000 damage or so there, because they had just used their damage control. But also, being cognizant of what's happening in this game, I can see that the west side of this map has pretty much collapsed. The red team is doing a fairly strong push up the west side. There are both destroyers over there, so rather than try and like focus on the 1 or 2 ships that are over here, I'm going to reposition this slow ship over to the west side to try and intercept, you know, these BBs as they push in, because that's really the name of the game with this ship. It's kind of like the Pan-Asian cruisers in the sense that you want ships to push into you. So if I can get over here and get people to shoot at me instead of my battleships, then that's a good thing, and maybe I can get some fires going, and maybe they will push in this way, and we might have a chance of winning this, because we are down on ships right now. Only 2, but the positioning of everything, actually make that only 1 at the moment, but the positioning of everything right now says there's a really strong push coming from this side, and I'm not sure how we're going to be able to hold it off, because what do we really have over here that can spot cruisers? We have a Fiji, and we have our carrier, me, and I believe that was a Nagato. So, obviously, carriers can't spot ships anymore. Well, they can spot them on the mini-map, but you can't see them. So, you can still use that. You can still use that to know where ships are, and that's what I'm going to end up doing here. But first, I'm going to try and make this Bismarck's life a living hell. And actually, you know what? We can watch this and see the damage of these shells, because every time I hit him, the damage is going to go up. So I just hit him 4, so the next salvo should be doing 4% more damage, and then we hit that, and you can see it starts to add up pretty quickly. I mean, granted, yeah, we're only talking about like 20% on an HE shell, but hey man, every little bit helps. So that's what I was saying. I think this is going to be a very useful commander when the heavies are out here, because think about getting like a, you know, I don't know, a 25% boost of damage to a Citadel shot. That's pretty good, especially if you've got like a legendary mod on there and you've already got another 10%. Suddenly those shells are going to be doing, what, probably around 8,000 or 9,000 damage when they get here. Plus they get some big guns on those. Well, that's the Goon Lu, and we know how Ouija likes to add ships to legendary tier. Oh, hey, there we go. Another ship sunk. I was pretty sure that we're boned here because look at our CV. He's got no health. There are 2 destroyers. In fact, one of them is on our base already, and I have no idea where they are. Well, I kind of do, because they are spotted, so I'm going to have to turn in here and try and make this happen. I was checking there to see if the other destroyer was spotted, but he is not, so I'm not sure how they were spotted. Maybe by planes? I don't know. At any rate, I got to do what I got to do. And that's going to be to try and protect the base, maybe get people to shoot me instead of our carrier, but generally just try and hold off the Reds here, because we're down to 4 ships and they have 6, but Haida gets a little too aggressive here, and I'm going to try and get a strike off on them real quick because they're spotted. I think I probably would have missed that anyway, but it doesn't really matter because our CV gets them. So, hey, that's one issue down, or one problem down. But here's where the red team decides to throw. Well, okay, maybe not throw, but this is where the red team makes a huge mistake, because I should be dead, right? But Jaeger, 6.2 concealment? How? How do you have concealment that bad on that ship? Plus, they're going to dump all their torps right now, and I've slammed on the brakes, so... And they're getting closer to me? I don't know. But I was already only concerned with them. I know that there's that Nelson in front of me, but we've got to deal with the torp threat first. And then I see, okay, there go all racks of his torps. So I should be fine. And if I can get this guy... well, we might be able to pull off a miracle in this match, and we are going to sink him right there. And now, ta-da! Do you know who's got terrible AA? Nelson. So, let's get some airstrikes down. But actually, I think this first one is going to sink them. It's not like a huge hit, but even still, I'm sure, yeah. Nelson. Did that cost him the game? Maybe. I mean, there's still plenty of time left, but we are up on points now. And things are going to kind of slow down here, but I will fast forward it so we can just jump to the end. But I kind of want to go over what the thought process is here, because you can see there's going to be a lot of indecision on my part. So we have a cruiser heading to their cap. We have a destroyer chasing their CV. So what do I want to do? Well, as I mentioned, this ship it's kind of slow. I think I have Von Muller on as an inspiration here and I'm getting like an extra 3 knots of speed. But what I'm thinking here is if I go to the base, I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to catch that battleship, and I don't have a ton of range with these guns. I think it's only like 15.5 kilometers. So not a ton of range, and if I'm chasing after a battleship, it's going to be very difficult for me to probably land any shells on them. So on the other hand, as I turn my attention, the carrier is actually headed towards me. Now granted, they are farther away at this moment, but they are headed towards me. And then I'm thinking, okay, I'm checking right there. We have a Tiger 59. And our destroyer is a Friesland, and it's the Caracciolo left. So what am I going to be able to do to that Caracciolo? I'm not exactly sure. So here's the whole math in my head. Let's assume that the Caracciolo kills the Tiger 59. That's going to be about a 100-point swing. Well, it's like, what, 35, probably like 70-point swing, and we're only up by 50. And then if the carrier sinks our Friesland, then that's going to be another 50 points. But if I sink the carrier, that's about a 200-point swing. So that's why I ended up saying, you know what, I'm going to go for the carrier, because if things should go south in both ways, then numerically, if I can sink that CV, we should be able to win regardless of what happens with my teammates. No. As you all know, the Tiger 59 is like the highest performing premium cruiser at tier 6 somehow. And by God, this Tiger 59 is going to sink that Caracciolo somehow. I'm really not sure. If by chance you're reading this, tell me how. I don't know if they got a ram off and they flood him out or what, because I look up and I'm like, no way. How did that work? And here's something else that's kind of interesting. Our Friesland seems to stop chasing this Graf Zeppelin. But anyway, I will, let's just skip forward here, or we'll ramp this up a little bit so we can save some time. Let's see, 800% ought to do it. So yeah, if only the ship was this fast normally. Oh, here, we'll slow it down again. Here's where our Tiger 59 actually kills. So wait, he actually shot him down, but he was killed by the secondaries of the Caracciolo. How? Well, Tiger 59 OP. So either way, we are going to win this at this point. But hey, man, I won the Kraken, and here comes the Graf Zeppelin. And now, this is going to be catharsis for anybody who's ever been focused by a carrier. Get focused, carrier. I'm going to get one salvo out. Put on the next drop. Probably should have spaced it out a little bit more, but watch this health go down. Oh yeah, this is gonna feel good. So, yeah, we are going to be picking up Kraken. What is this? 552 in the D7P, and right there feels really, really good, man. So let's see how we did in this match. I think we did pretty decent. 157,000 damage, get some medals. 3657 for a pretty fun ship. So here's hoping that the next campaign is good, but let's be real. Anyway, thank you all. I will see you in the next one.